Yo, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to do some sleeving. This is definitely the way I choose to encase tubing probably 95% of the time. There's several benefits. Mainly is just the nice even layer of clear that you're putting on there, as well as the protection, for your color. You can do this and your color tubing never even has to touch the flame. You can really protect it if you need to. So first off, I'm going to start with a piece of baby blue cheese and sleeve that inside of a piece of 32 by 4. Here I'm just gathering some of my handle up into the same diameter as my tubing, just to make sure I can sleeve all of my color and not waste any of it. Making sure it's nice and straight. It's pretty important when you're sleeving things to have both of your pieces nice and straight on the handles. So there I'm just sizing it up, making sure it's gonna fit good. And then I'm heating up my little nub, get them juicy and hot. And then you just want to make sure that it's straight. A little more heat in there and just give it a little kiss right there. And then it's just make sure they're straight. It's very important. Obviously basic, but it's hard. It's not as easy as it looks. So then I highly recommend getting yourself a vacuum of some sort, whether it's a vacuum pump like that or a shop vac or an aquarium pump. It doesn't really matter as long as there's some sort of suction. It makes your life a lot easier. So there I'm just hooking up to the blow tube, and you really want to be careful to not get your handle too hot when heating up that end. And as soon as you make that connection, therefore the air is sealed off, and you put in some heat, turn on your pump, and start melting. You'll see the clear come down and make contact with the color, and you just move on. You just move down slowly. There I'm just working it to the left towards my brace, and there we go. Just melting that down and then pulling off the funky brace part. And then I'm just going to put a bunch of heat into it and work it and make that all one piece. If you only do that first pass, that clear is basically just sitting on top of your color. It really didn't get melted fully on there. It just got sucked down onto the surface. So you do want to make sure that you work this stuff. Get it hot, puff it out, work it a bit. And then pull it down to whatever size you need or puff it out to whatever you need. Here I'm going for about, 26 mil tubing. Looking pretty good. Snapping that end off. Well, bam. No air trapped whatsoever. So then I'm just gonna rip off, probably a 6-inch section of that and gonna sleeve it again. But I'm gonna show you how to do it if you don't have a vacuum or your vacuum's broke or whatever. I just weld a little nub on there. Make sure it's a good weld. You don't want that cracking on you. And size up your tubing, figure out where that nub needs to be so you can weld it right onto the lip there. That's what I'm doing there, getting them both hot and trying to do just a nice little one-shot weld. And then again, focus on getting everything straight, getting that tube straight inside of there so that when that clear comes down on it, it comes down on it in an even layer. Rip that handle off and you start putting heat into that end. Use your marver pad to kind of get that clear to make contact. And then it's the same thing, just without the suction. So it does require quite a bit more heat for that clear to want to fall down. Or you can use your marver pad like I'm doing there and just be really careful not to trap any air. It takes a little practice, but you'll figure out what angles you need to hit it at to not trap any bubbles. And for this particular project, I wanted some really thick tubing. So you can see here that I'm not stretching it down or really puffing it out at all. I'm just getting it super hot, letting that clear come down. And you can see there is about 7 millimeters of nice thick layer of clear on there. And I'm just pulling that down to about 16 mil. There we go. That's a nice way of sleeving if you don't have a vacuum. And here we go for another project that I'm working on. I wanted to sleeve some spiraled tubing, so here I am doing it on the lathe. This is actually normally how I will do most of my sleeving. I'm trying to save my shoulders in my old age here. But there I'm just using a reamer to make that connection and then kind of moving it around, giving myself some room to get that hand torch in there and really get that weld good. on heavier tubing like this, I think that's a bit more important. And there you see I'm focusing right on the lip of the tubing, really trying not to hit my handle. You don't want things to get squirrely on you, especially from the start. And there I am, just heating it up and moving it on down as the vacuum pulls all the air from between those two layers. That is basically what sleeving is. Thank you very much for checking out this episode on sleeving, and we will see you next time where we're going to do some vac stacking.